It's a brand new day. Hey. Wake up every morning and say, it's a brand new day. Hey. Take a good day, make it great, okay? Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade. Yeah, chase those clouds away. It's a brand new day. Hey. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Okay. My whole life got them hand-me-downs, but what that meant was I had my family round. And sometimes I can't help but frown. Then I remember what I meant for. It's so simple, I just say, gotta just celebrate. It's gonna be A-okay. Life's too short to waste away. One step at a time's all it takes, okay. It's a brand new day. Hey. Wake up every morning and say, it's a brand new day. Hey. Take a good day, make it great, okay? Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade. Yeah, chase those clouds away. It's a brand new day. Hey. It's a brand new day.
It's a brand new day. Let's just get started right away. All right. Father, we just thank you that we can come together and have this time that we can go through your word, that it brings forth a change and a performance in our life. That's what we're asking for. And through the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. So be it. Hey, blessings, everybody out there on the other side of that camera. I hope that you're having a blessed day. Today, we're going to be talking about the Bible commands you to get angry. Yeah, that's different than we've heard many times before, right? A commandment. Thanks. Glad you could join us today. So let's get over into this as we get kicked off, because this could shock a lot of people. We're going to be talking about anger. And before you click off thinking, oh, great, here we go. Here's some more holier than thou people telling us not to get mad, not to get angry, that we're supposed to be in control of our emotions. Well, that is true, but that's not what today is going to be about. Today, we're going to be covering, thanks for you joining us right here. Going to our points. Boom, 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 boom. And again, welcome to our Bible study. If you're new here, hey, I hope you're having a great day as we break down the Bible together. We're going to go into why, they're gone again, huh? Why Paul actually wants you to get angry. And Paul just didn't come up with this on his own either, all right? We're going to see where Paul got it. Can we shut that door? Maybe we'll just have everybody go in the other room. That might work too. Number 2, how to turn your anger into rocket fuel for your dreams. That sounds good, right? It's not going to be exactly what you think. Is that still hanging out up there? We're going to go into the secret to getting angry in front of people without traumatizing your kids. That'd be a good one, right? How many of us have traumatized the old kiddos when we lose our temper? I know that I've been there. Number 4, why do people keep pushing your buttons and how to make them stop? That's a good one. I don't know about that. I mean, you always say that people push your buttons. Number 5, what to do when you can't walk away and you're about to explode. Sure, some of us can relate to that one, right? 6, how Jesus got angry. Yeah, even Jesus. Thought you're supposed to be in control at all times. Doesn't the Bible talk about that? And getting angry, isn't that not controlling your emotions? Is that not being in the spirit of control? Well, maybe we don't understand it exactly, because Jesus got angry and he actually, the anger flowed through him and he threw over tables. We're going to learn the difference between being controlled by anger and controlling your anger. Because see, look, if you've been stuffing your anger down like a good little church person, that's number 1, or you're exploding over people and at people, and then later you feel terrible about it. Has anybody done that? Yeah, you suppress, and then you just blow up, and then you feel bad later. Well, then this message today is for you. You're here at the right place and the right time. Because by the end of this study today, this is what my hope is for you, that you're going to have a completely different relationship with anger, and that anger is actually going to become your ally instead of your enemy. Because I think a lot of us out there can relate that we dread getting angry, and sometimes it's intimidating for some of us that, if you're more the alpha type or however you want to say, the confronting type or whatever works, you don't really want to get angry because then you're like, man, and then I say things and I didn't mean them. Now I got to go back and do repair work and right? And we see anger a lot of times too come out when people get under the influence of certain mind altering drugs or alcohol. Then the inhibitions drop and then everything just flows out. We've seen that too, huh? Well, let me start today with the crazy truth that most of us have been taught completely wrong about anger, because you've been given the fool's choice. And the fool's choice is, if you're going to be a follower of Christ, then you just don't get angry. That's not something you would do. And if you saw a follower of Christ get angry, well, then you would look at them like, man, they're not a good follower of Christ, right? I mean, I saw that person at this place and they lost it. So, I mean, clearly, they were yelling and all upset. That can't be. So we learned that it's either that or you suppress it, right? You suppress it all the way down and then you explode. So either you completely suppress or you explode. That's the only options you got, right? Suppress or explode. Is there any other options out there? See, have you ever gotten angry at somebody, yelled and screamed, and then had regret over it, and you thought, and you can let us know back in the chat, geez, what happened? I wasn't being myself. Has anybody ever had that? Ever thought that? Have you ever gone back to the person and you said, I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me? Well, see, here's the truth that you may be unsettling for you. And this may shock some of you in the sense that now you're going to maybe think differently at the person that got angry and said what they said to you. Is that when you're angry like that and you blow up and you say things that you later regret, you say things and you're like, I'm sorry, that's not who I really am. The truth is you are actually being more of yourself than you ever are. Most of us go around wearing a mask and pretending. And in fact, when you learn this principle and you see people, and maybe some of you know some people like this, maybe you are a person like this, that you're just super duper nice. Like you're always smiling. Like, those people that just like, they're like, yes, how are you doing today? Oh, God bless you. And oh, hey. And then you like coming to them with some problem, like, oh, that's okay. It's my fault. Oh. And they're just so over the top nice. It's almost disturbing. You can just tell it's an act. Like it's just so over the top. And then a person like that, all of a sudden you see a little sneak underneath the mask. Maybe they're drinking one day and all of a sudden they're just like, rah, 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 rah. And you're like, what? That person's the nicest person I've ever seen in my life. They weren't themselves. Or something happens and they're talking to maybe a husband or a spouse comes into work, and then all of a sudden they're one way with them that you've never seen that face before. That's the real them. The other is a mask that you're wearing. When you get angry and all of a sudden it just takes over and you lose control, it's the same way as if you took a drink of alcohol with your mind. The inhibitions drop. You don't fear anymore. Can you imagine if you're a woman and you can even look, man, whatever. If you see a guy that's 6'6", solid muscle, carries jiu-jitsu, black belt, whatever, and somebody goes, hey, that guy said something about you, why don't you go up and knock him out, or at least try, Are you going to go do that? Are you going to try that? You'd be like, bro, I'm not going to go do that. That guy's probably going to snap my neck. Let him say whatever he wants to say. Take the same dude. Now he goes up to one of your children and he does the same thing. Maybe he even shoves one of your children. That mom or dad that was timid before is right up into that dude's face like it's go time. They're not thinking about, is he going to snap my neck? Is this guy going to throw me in an arm bar? Is this guy going to choke me out? You're just go. You're just biting and clawing and fighting because that's what's going to happen. Because your inhibitions have dropped. You're in a flow state now. And so you're being more who you really are because you're not letting things get in front of your way. You're not overthinking. So I want to really drill in on this point because so many times when we get angry and we say something to somebody and then we go and we say, that isn't really me. It is you. And if you don't like who you are, then you need to change who you are and quit trying to mask the symptoms and go to the direct root. See, the problem wasn't the anger when you blow up or you say a certain thing. The problem was the packaging. You lost control because you've been bottling up this suppressed anger for so long, it came flying up all at once. What could have been maybe constructive became destructive. It's like taking a soda pop, man. You just shake and shake and it's under pressure. And then when someone barely touches it, boom, it explodes up everywhere. It's called, in the analysis world, free-floating anxiety. The guy that is so upset with his home life and, have you ever, let's do it this way. Have you ever been talking with someone at work or at home and one thing happens and it's not even that big a deal and then it explodes and you're like, whoa, where did that just come from? Ever? Because see, when that happens, the person that explodes, you already know they're suppressing anger and that there's way more going on beneath the surface than you actually see. You just saw the bottle top exploding. You didn't see it being shaken up. This lets you know how to go and then work with people, at home and at your job. And all of this is easier said by me than done, correct? Because I work on this all the time. See, suppressed anger, it will always seek to find a way out. So here's the kicker. When you explode, you're not in control, and people can see that. They know exactly which buttons to push to get you going. You've heard people say, oh, he or she really knows how to push my buttons. Has anybody said that? Well, guess what? They know where your buttons are because you show them every time you lose control. You show them what drives you nuts. You show them what your triggers are. You're handing your strength over. And now you're like a puppet on a string, and people, they just know what to say to send you over the edge. And now you've lost all respect. So here is going to be the game changer. You see, God, he created and formed us, and he knows exactly what, for all of our needs, what we need to eat, how we need to think, how we need to process our emotions. And all of this is in your Bible. And in fact, Paul, he gets this from the Psalms, and he says this over in Ephesians when he's speaking to the church in Ephesus. In chapter 4, 26 through 27, he says, be angry. Wow, Paul actually saying, be angry. And do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger and give no opportunity to the devil. Well, there's a whole lot going on here Because when I talked about the fool's choice in the beginning, saying, hey, you either get two choices. You either suppress your anger or you just explode in anger. And we don't want to explode in anger, so then we must suppress it. Fool's choice. Because when we read in the Bible and it says, be angry, well, that doesn't show suppression, does it? But we don't want to explode and say things that we regret, because that would be to sin against our brother or our sister, would it not? And do not let the sun go down on your anger means that it wouldn't be suppressed then at the time you would go to bed, correct? So you would have to release your anger. But I thought if I release my anger, then that means I blow up and explode on people, and I don't want to release my anger. No, I must suppress it. What you're doing when you're caught in this fool's fallacy is you're giving opportunity to the devil to just sit there and put you in the right position and go boop, and you explode in front of everybody and cause all this turmoil. And then the devil has won. See, Paul got this from Psalms 4:4, where it says, be angry and do not sin. Ponder your own hearts on your beds and be silent. So don't explode in front of somebody. Ponder in your beds. Be silent. Now we're going to get into, what does this be silent mean? Because that sounds like suppression to me. And that's only going to lead to travesty. We tried suppressing. By show of hands, does it work? No, it doesn't work. Suppression just leads to uncontrolled anger when you get sent over the edge. Now notice here that Paul, nor the Psalms, says that try not to get angry and do not sin. It doesn't say, hey, anger is bad. Let's try to avoid that. No, Paul goes, be angry, but do not transgress the commandments of God. See, this isn't what most of us are taught, right? That God actually condones being angry. That we're seeing it over and over in the Bible. We see that God himself gets angry. I think this is going to be a big breakthrough for many of us in our lives today, because we're going to learn that anger is actually information. See, it's like a smoke alarm in your house. You don't get mad at the smoke detector for going off in the middle of the night when there's a fire, right? You deal with the fire. Most of us aren't dealing with the fire. We're getting mad at the smoke alarm inside our minds. Anger is trying to tell you something important is happening. Maybe someone crossed a boundary. Maybe an injustice occurred. Maybe you are disrespected. Maybe you crossed a boundary that you set for yourself and you're disappointed with yourself, and now you're angry with yourself. Either way, anger is data. It's telling you something in your life needs to be addressed. When you suppress, when you explode, and then you go, that wasn't me, and you disassociate all accountability, I was acting out of sorts, I wasn't being myself, and not coming to the realization, no, that is my true self. My real self is screaming to come out, and I want to suppress my real self because I'm operating in the spirit of fear and not in the spirit of confidence. And I'm not operating in a spirit of power and self-control. Because then you would go to deal with the root problem. And a lot of this is going to happen in your meditation prayer time. When you really sit with yourself. And this is what David's talking about what he's saying, and what I believe he to be saying, ponder in your heart, why am I being angry here? What is the information that I need to know? What am I not seeing here? But most of us don't want to do that. We don't want to find the fire in our house is literally burning down inside of us. Jesus got angry. Jesus never sinned. Mark 3, verse 5. And he looked around at them with anger. Jesus looked at his brothers with anger. Jesus is operating in anger. He says he looked in anger. He looked at them with anger. Well, that doesn't sound very Christian to me. Oh, only according to the way that you've been taught. This is the most Christian thing you can do because this is controlled. He was grieved at their hardness of heart. Jesus knew why he was angry. You see, this is the information. I am grieved. And he said, stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out and his hand was restored. Jesus was angry because the Pharisees cared more about their rules than a man that needed healing. But notice what Jesus did with that anger. Jesus used anger to fuel compassion and action. Jesus used anger to bring restoration rather than destruction. That's the secret. Because you see, Jesus, didn't he say not to get angry? But he's angry here. He looked at his brothers with anger. But in Matthew 5:22, Jesus Christ says, I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother, was not Jesus angry with his brother? He looked at them with anger. I say to you, Jesus Christ says, everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to the judgment. But see, we got to take it into context. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, sin. Whoever says you fool will be liable to hell of fire, sin. Do you see that? Jesus didn't say it's not good that you cannot get angry. Jesus is saying uncontrolled anger leads to sin. I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to the judgment, because whoever insults his brother, whoever attacks his brother, whoever doesn't use controlled anger, whoever lets anger control them, whoever lets anger dominate them, the way of Cain. Are we getting somewhere today? Be angry, Paul says, but do not sin, contextually with what Jesus Christ has said. Because you don't want to give opportunity to the devil. You don't want to blow up. Isn't it amazing when we start to weave the Bible together in its fullness? See, let's go to secret number 1. Let's turn your anger into rocket fuel for your dreams. You have an ally that you haven't been using. You've been suppressing something that could be a game changer for you. Instead of letting anger destroy your relationships, you can channel energy into accomplishing your passions and your dreams. Oh, 100%. See here. So I want to go over here real quick. What does it feel like in your body to get angry? Does your heart rate go up or down? Heart rate goes up, right? What about your muscles? Would you say that they get like tense or they become more relaxed? So muscles, they tensify, they get tense. What about like your face? Do you think it comes what kind of stern, kind of tense? Just saying, like again, muscles tense in your face, tense, kind of like a grrr, right? That's it. If you feel energy come into your body, do you think your heart rate's going to go down or up? Up. So we got anger over here. Now on this side, energy. Muscles. Would your muscles, would they become tense or more relaxed if you have energy flowing through your body? Tense. Heart rate would go up. What about your face? Do you feel energy flow through your body? Do you feel like your face is going to be kind of sulking, a little bit just, or your face will be red, your shoulders will be back, your whole posture would change, right? So your face would maybe have that determined look. Isn't this interesting? So maybe it's just the way in our English that we're looking at anger. Because if you said, I'm angry or I'm energetic, I feel energy. You see how the label can change it? I'm in this situation and I feel energy coming into my body. My muscles are tensifying. My heart rate's going up. Now I don't have an angry face. I have a determined face. See, energy is filling up your body when you say that I am becoming angry. And energy can be channeled both positive and negative. It can be used either way. It's neutral. What we're finding out today, guys, anger is neutral. You can use that energy to finally get off your butt and do that project that you've been putting off. Right? You can get so frustrated with yourself. You're like, man, I'm angry because I don't keep my promises to myself. Or somebody can come to you and they could say something. They don't know what's going on the inside of your mind because you've been suppressing it for so long. And they say something to you that implies that you're lazy. And it triggers you. It's a button. And now you can explode at them and go, I'm not lazy. How dare you say that? I do. Or you could just go, whoa, I feel triggered right now. Feeling energy. My heart rate's going up. I'm feeling tense. And we're going to look what to do when you start to feel those emotions until you can finally learn to control those emotions, because you must start recognizing them. And what you're going to notice as you practice this, you'll begin to recognize it sooner and sooner and sooner. For many of you, it's going to be a day later. You go, oops, I got angry again. Darn it. Then it's going to turn into hours later. Then it's going to turn to in the moment. And you're going to sense it. And you're going to come to the realization. Now you can use that anger in a controlled way or an uncontrolled way. You can say, know what? I'm going to control this anger. Is there truth to what they're saying as I do the meditations of my heart? Yeah, I find truth in it. I'm going to use that anger to motivate me to get off my butt, to get things done. I'll show them. I'll show me in a constructive way. Just like Jesus Christ did. He was angry with his brothers because over the hardness of their heart, and he showed them. He put anger into action and brought healing, creative restoration. We need to take our anger and make it into creative energy instead of deconstructive energy. You can use anger to fuel a workout, a business idea. Do something to change in your community. See, this is why anger itself is not a sin. It can be used for good. That's why it's not wrong to be angry. It can be used to create. It can be used to motivate. You can be like what Jesus did into right and injustice. But here's the key. You must let anger flow through you and not build up inside of you. When you feel anger rising, you don't stuff it down. But you also don't let it fly all out either as soon as you feel triggered. So let's go into some concepts here. Go somewhere private and let anger out. Many of us have not been doing this. I've talked about this before, but get into your car, go to your room, find a place where no one can hear you, and let that anger out. Scream, yell, say everything you want to about that person or situation. Just don't do it to their face. Many of you are sitting here right now with bottled up anger, completely suppressed. A lot of you don't know what it feels like to even feel normal anymore. You could even think, I'm fine. I don't need to go yell in my car, dude. Thank you. Now, really? Ask the people around you, closest to you, how fine you are. Because when you go out and you begin to let this out and scream and yell, drive out into the country, walk through the woods, go wherever you can, yell into a pillow, you will let that suppressed anger out. Say what you need to say. Get it out. And you may say, no, because if I do that in private, won't it lead to the public? Well, that's where you need to practice self-control. If you go and you read the Psalms, David prayed all kinds of things about the people he was angry at. Let their children be fatherless. Let them fail in their endeavors. Let their wives be widows. David was angry, but David didn't walk it out. He brought it to the Lord. And he said to Yahweh, he's like, Father, please fight on my behalf. I release all of this to you. I trust you more than I trust myself. See, David, a man after God's own heart, it was written in 1 Samuel 24, 11 through 13. This guy, David, he had every single right to just be fueled in anger at King Saul. King Saul was literally hunting David down all the time, trying to kill him. And at this point, David and his men are hiding in a cave when King Saul comes in to go relieve himself. It's almost comical. David and his men were whispering to David saying, this is your chance. Now you can kill him. You got him on the own. You've already been prophesied to be king, David. You are in right standing with God, with the men of the country and the nation. David, take Saul out. But David creeps up and he takes just a piece of Saul's robe, but he didn't harm him. Then afterward, David calls out to Saul, shows him the piece of the robe, and he says, basically, I could have killed you, and you wouldn't even have known it, but I didn't. I'm going to let God handle this. And Saul was crushed. That's controlled anger. That's wisdom. David was furious with the injustice that King Saul was doing, but he channeled his anger into trusting God for God's justice and not his own revenge. Could you imagine if David had just suppressed all of that and just exploded? He would have been coming out with pieces of Saul's flesh, not his robe. But he let his anger flow through him in prayer to God. We have it in the Psalms where it is written, wise action, not destructive action. Let's go to secret number 2. How to get angry in front of people without traumatizing the kiddos. We're going to hit a couple here. See, this is the technique that I was talking about that's going to be a game changer, especially for parents. I wish I would have came across this way sooner, because sometimes you just can't get away, right, moms? Or sometimes you're in a meeting at work, dealing with your kids, a situation in which you feel anger, but you can't just walk out the room, right? You got a lot of things going on. Well, here's the secret. It's okay to express anger, to let people see it, as long as it's not directed at them. It's a huge difference. A huge difference with saying, you are making me so angry right now. Really? Because I didn't know anybody could make you do anything. But how about somebody in the same room? Because it's like, again, guys, if you're paying attention, if you're fighting with somebody or arguing and they go, you're making me so angry right now. How does that feel? Yeah, that you got power over them. Oh, I'm making you, so I'm in control, huh? But a lot of you feel attacked. Well, you're the one freaking out. Now, all of a sudden, I'm responsible for you freaking out. And then when you're angry, what do? You try to make them feel as bad as you do. You're angry because you're not in a relationship with your emotions. And you feel your heart rate come up, you feel your body tense up, and you feel that surge of energy, and you felt like I'm losing control again, and you've been taught that it's wrong to get angry, and so now you're angry that you're angry, and now you want them to feel as bad as you do when you don't even need to feel bad, because anger is neither positive nor negative, it's neutral. And so now, instead of it becoming constructive, it becomes deconstructive, and you want to tear them down with insults. Now, all of a sudden, you're not even talking about the problem that the anger was triggered. You know what I mean? The problem that you guys are having the dispute over. You're arguing about your insecurities. And the person on the other side of the table doesn't even know what in the world's going on. How many people have had this happen? How many people have had their children in a room and you're doing something and the children are just playing? And they're being loud. And this is really interesting, because you were corrected so much when you were a child by parents that didn't know how to regulate their anger and they didn't know how to be good parents and lead you correctly, then they told you that you were wrong for just being a kid, for just having fun and letting emotions out. I did that because that's the way that I was raised. Children are better to be seen, not heard, right? That's what they say. If you have a child in a public space and the child is being a child and being loud, and you look around the room, all the people that are looking over irritated, can you believe that kid? I don't know what the parents why won't they correct their child? He's yelling in the restaurant, whatever. I guarantee you almost 100% of the time, they were corrected for that same behavior when they were young. Now your child's just being a child and you explode because your child spilled your favorite beverage on your keyboard, and now you're screaming at them. I can't believe you did this. Why would you do this? I'm busy with work. You caused this, and you're yelling at the child, traumatizing your children. Because really, you weren't being proficient. You're behind at your job. You have all this other things going on. You have conflicts with your spouse. You're not fulfilling the goals that you set forward. You're not handling lots of your insecurities. And so it's been suppressed on the inside. And as soon as that drink gets spilled on your keyboard by your 3-year-old child, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, whatever, you explode out the gate. As soon as you come home and your husband didn't left dirty dishes all over the counter, what are these dishes all over that counter? And you just, oh man, you're like, whoa, what's going on? And then if you be honest with yourself, it's like, was it really the dishes? Was it really the drink on the keyboard? Was it really? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was that you've been suppressing and not allowing anger to flow. And therefore it's uncontrolled anger, and it caused chaos because you gave way to Satan to use it to destroy you and the world that is around you and you come in contact with. It's terrible, isn't it? When we could just say, hey, what about controlled anger? What about let it flow out? What about if you feel it bubbling up and you don't get the moment to get away? You could be like, oh, I'm so angry right now. I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. I'm frustrated, I'm frustrated. Now, if you've already traumatized your family and children because of your attacks on them and anger, they're going to see the anger and they're going to go, here comes the attack. But if you can get control of this now before it's too late for you, and it's never really too late because then they can see a new pattern arise. But you're like, I'm angry. It's not at you. I'm angry at the situation. I have a lot going on in my life and there's just different things happening right now. It's not you that I'm angry at. I'm just angry at the situation. There's actually case testimonies of people operating in this and their kids have been raised around controlled anger. That the kids can sit in a room and have a mom or dad blow up and just be like, I'm angry right now because so many things are happening all at once because that's life. And the kids just sit back and watch and smile. And this one man was saying that when he got done exploding, because he was cooking pancakes and doing all this, doing breakfast, and the kids are like coming up right at that moment, wanting something and needing something at that moment because that's the timing that kids have. And then he's like, oh my gosh, I got so much going on. And he was ready to blow up at the kid and go, can you just go over there and sit down and give me a moment? Because that's what I did all the time. All the time, directed anger at the thing I'm not even angry at the person I'm not even angry at. I'm upset at myself because I can't control everything. Guess what? You're human. Guess what? You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. Your family knows you're human. Your family knows that you're flawed because they are too. And so this man, he's like, I just said, hey, I'm angry. And when he got done, the kids go, God, that's some good anger, Dad. Because they don't feel attacked. Do you understand what I'm saying? How many of you parents on the other side of that camera, would it blow your mind that you could get angry and explode in the middle of the room in front of your family and no one would feel attacked? Everyone would be okay. Why? Because they know that their safety is not at risk in the tribe. See, a lot of this is deep rooted. Children get traumatized when you scream at them for just being kids. And it's so mind-blowing to them because when they're a certain age, it's cute. When they're 1 and they accidentally knock something over, it's like, oh, honey, it's okay. Now they're 3 or 4 and they knock something over. Why did you do that? Do you know how much that cost? And the child doesn't know what's happening. The person that was always so endearing, the person that always came to them and smiled, the person that always fed them and loved them all the time is now looking at them like they hate them. Like they want to shred them into pieces. And on the inside of your mind, you know that you don't have hatred for the child. It's actually hatred for yourself. Directed at the child because you're mad that you've lost control because you haven't been taught how to control. And now the child is in fear that they could be ousted from the family. This is deeply ingrained in us. It's tribal mentality. Boy, I better not do that again. My mom or dad, they could kill me. They could get rid of me. It's me. I'm broken. I'm flawed. I can't do that. What's wrong with me? Why would I do that? Now you're creating all kinds of traumas and phobias and garbage in your kids that never should have been there. I create messages like this for people like me that have done the wrong thing for so stinking long and we're tired of it. We've seen damage that it's caused in our families and we're ready and tired and we want to see it go the other way. We want harmonious families. We want nurturing families. I'm also doing it for those of you out there that are pregnant mothers, expecting mothers, or have young children. And now you have the opportunity to start with this from day one, knowing you're going to make mistakes along the way because we're human. And now you know that you can get angry and it can create a safe space The people in your family don't feel like they have to suppress all the time. It's not good to get angry. Why? Because we've seen what anger does in mom. It's not okay to get angry because we've seen what anger does in dad. And anger's bad. Anger's scary. No, anger is neutral. Dad had problems he had to work on, and he wasn't working on. He was suppressing. You can use the same thing when you're in a board meeting, when you're at the construction site, and something happens, and you're ready to blow. And become so frustrated that this job's not going accordingly. Man, mistakes have been happening. You can just speak to the situation, not the people. I'm so mad at you for all the mistakes you've been making. You've been screwing up this job, you idiot. Could you imagine like a team really wants to follow you now, jackbutt? It's just like, I'm frustrated at the situation. Give me a minute. Yeah, boss, he's just frustrated at the situation. He'll get it together, come back, and he'll give us direction. It's safe. You don't be working for somebody, you can be fired at any moment. You see how we've been geared? And teachers in school, man, they need to go through a lot more education on mental training, psychology, before they are handed your children for 8 hours a day, and they're not. Oh, you can teach mathematics, but you can't control your anger. You've never been taught how to. And now they're treating your children like this. But remember, we should develop empathy with this, not superiority. When you see other people lose control, go, either that could have been me or that was me. And I'm so thankful that it's not. Maybe you can help them. So let's go on to the marriage part. Let's go on to the marriage part here. Yeah, there's a little beverage on the keyboard. Saving technique. Here's a technique that I promise that can literally save your marriage. How long have we been married? 21 years. Hey, Boston, can you come fill this up? We'll be married 21 years, right? In a couple of weeks. Remind me. 21 years. So we should know something about marriage. And I feel like our marriage is better. I feel like my wife and I now can have arguments and be angry around each other and feel safe. And by no means is this perfected. But I remember before we would get angry and it didn't feel safe. There'd be threats made and just stupidity. See, this is understanding the difference between being controlled by your anger and controlling your anger. When you're controlled by your anger, folks, you say things that you regret. You attack character instead of addressing behavior. And you give the devil opportunity to destroy the relationships that you've built. But when you control anger, this is the good part. You can speak truth that builds up instead of tears down. Look what Paul says again to the church in Ephesus. He says in Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for what? Say it. Building up. Say it again. Say it again. As fits the occasion. Boy, did you slow that down for a moment? As fits the occasion? See, that means you're in control, you're analyzing, you're aware, you are present. That it may give grace to those who hear. When you are controlled in anger, when you are controlling your anger, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. You can address real issues in a way that actually solves them. When you're in uncontrolled anger, it causes more problems. Can you all agree with that? Thanks, man. Let's get to some practical tips here that it's going to be a process that's going to save your relationships. Number one, we got how many points here? Five. Number one, pay attention to your body. Remember that? So when you feel anger, we can just call it energy because it's neutral. Anger is neither positive or negative. When you feel anger rising, your heartbeat goes up. You feel your muscles tense, right? You feel energy going through your body. Feel the energy igniting. Don't ignore it. It's data. Don't suppress it, okay? Number two, remove yourself if possible. You could say, hey, you could look at the other person. You could look at the group, even your children. I need 10 minutes to process this and I'll be right back. Now that's very specific, what I just said. You don't just leave. If you're having an argument with somebody or a disagreement and they just leave, do you feel that that's solving the problem or making it worse? Everybody here in the room said making it worse, right? If I'm having a disagreement with you and I'm just like, and walk out of the room, slam the door, or just walk away. It's like, oh yeah, run away like you do from everything. Makes it worse. Some people have even dealt with abandonment because their mom and dad treated them that way. They didn't know how to handle their children and they thought their children were just too much. So they would just leave. Yeah, leave just like dad did. Right? Yeah, ignore me just like my mom did. So does it feel better or worse? Now, I really want you guys to know, does it feel better or worse that if someone just leaves, shuts the door and walks out when you're having a conversation with them, an argument with them? That's number one. Or number two, does it feel better if they say, hey, can you just please give me 10 minutes? I'll be right back to discuss this further with you. I just need 10 minutes to process, okay? And they leave. They don't ask permission. They just leave. Does that feel better than the person that just walked out? We have yes. Why? He just said it. He said, because I know what they're doing. Giving time helps with abandonment issues on the other person or the idea that you're running away from the problem. Almost 99% of the time, that is going to help by you simply just giving it time. 10 minutes, 30 minutes. Can we talk about this tomorrow? Can you give me just 1 minute? If you're in a room that you can't even leave, just give me a minute to process. Now you've given them a time. Now they feel comfortable. Now they feel like you're still in it with them. If you can, let it out privately first. Yell, scream, get it out of your system. So if you can, exit the room and now let it all out. All the things that you wanted to tell that person to their face, tell it to the pillow. We got a Bob here in the rec room that we can punch and hit. I'm like, go tell Bob. Go punch and hit him and smack him. Let it out. Yell, scream, get it out of your system. Then, once you've done that, you can identify the information that the anger's trying to tell you, but you haven't learned to control it yet. You feel the surge of energy and it scares you from all your programming that your parents did, that your teachers did, that your bosses did when it comes to anger, and that it was bad and bad things happen. But now you know that anger is neutral. It's not positive. It's not negative. It's neutral and it's information, right? Anger is information. What needs to be addressed? Why was I triggered? Also, try to see it from the other person's point of view. Even if you can't stand it, try to see why would they see it this way? What did they go through as a child that would bring them to this position right now concerning this thing? Then once you can see it from their point of view, now maybe you can construct and build a better bridge. Speaking of constructively, this is exactly what you should do. Address the behavior or situation not the person's character, the low-hanging fruit. Because it's easier to destroy than it is to build. That's why Satan doesn't build. He only destroys. God did the hard part. Never, you made me mad, speak to the situation. That made me feel angry. When my wife and I talk now, a lot of times we will say things like, hey, I feel like this. It says of you are making me angry right now. You are making me feel threatened right now. It's, I feel anger at this right now, at this situation. Or I feel like you don't, or how about this? My friend, you're talking to your spouse and you say, I feel like you don't pay attention to me. How does that feel versus you don't pay attention to me? Accusation. Because see, if I say to you, you don't pay attention to me, you never help me with anything around here. But if you say, I feel like you don't help me with anything around here, that's still pretty aggressive, right? But I feel like, well, now can you tell the other person what they feel? No, you don't feel attacked anymore, and they have the right to feel that way. But if you go, you make me feel like this. You don't help. You don't do this. You don't do that. Just like, I feel like you're not really all in on this project. Now it's more constructive. Now we're not defending one another. See, it's not an attack. It's simply, the dog's wow. This is just an observation. If you have rapport with the person, what you can do is set boundaries. That's good. Set boundaries with the person. So whether this be at your job, whether it be with your children, whether your wife, set boundaries. Hey, when mom and dad, if we say to you, hey, like I'm feeling really stressed right now, or I'm feeling like a lot of emotions right now, can you please give me 10 minutes? Give them time. And now the children already know what to expect. They're in a safe place. Your wife, everybody knows what to expect. Or maybe you're very sensitive. Have you ever noticed that when you confide in the people closest to you, spouses, girlfriends, friends, that then when you get into arguments, they use that sensitive information against you? Like, I'm really self-conscious about this. I really, I had a lot of problems with this or that in my life or whatever. And then when you get into the argument, and then they're like, yeah, that's because you're just so like that. And that's because of your mom. And that's because of your dad. And they use all this stuff, and it just triggers into an explosion because you just want to hurt. You just want to hurt. You just want to hurt. You've given the adversary ammunition. But if you set boundaries and you say, hey, when we have an argument, we're going to have an argument right now. And arguments are healthy because it's an exchange of information, and we're going to do it in a safe place. But these are the boundaries we're going to set. We're not going to be talking about each other's mamas. We're not going to bringing up daddies, right? We're not going to bring up this or bring up that. We're going to stick to the situation, but no attacks on character. Fair enough? Fair enough. Then when someone steps over that boundary, before you would step over the boundary yourself again, right? Oh, you want to say about that, my mom? Or what about your mom? But now you can say, hey, you stepped over the set boundary. I'm going to ask you to please step back and stop and respect the boundary. Got it. You see that? You see how it's so much more constructive and better? Guys, this is going to be revolutionary for you. I'm telling you, it's going to help you greatly because arguing is good. Do you know that there are men and women that divorced that they say they never got in one single argument? Does that mean they never disagreed on anything? Are you freaking kidding me? We're human. But they felt it's not safe to argue because I've seen what happens when dad argues and what he did to mom. It's not safe to argue because I've seen what it was like to go to my mother and argue and how she treated me and what she did to me. Arguing's not safe. Arguing's scary. Arguing's dangerous, right? How do you treat your kids when they come and they want to exchange information with you? Do you shut them down and you're just kids? But you can have boundaries. Let me give you an example. Child comes up, it's in the middle of a situation, they want to stay out late, something's going on or whatever, and you tell them no, they can't go there, and they want to make it to a courtroom debate. But everybody, and this and that, and it's like, hey, this isn't up for debate. You come home now. Well, you're just a jerk. You come home now. We're not attacking each other's character. I know you're hurt. I know you're upset. We'll talk about it later. Come home now. That's boundaries. This isn't up for debate right now. I'm the one in charge. We're making a decision. This decision has been made. But once the energy has flowed down and now we can talk the next day about it in a safe space, now we can exchange information and you can tell me all the reasons why you didn't agree with what the decision I made, because I'm inviting you to have a conversation. Isn't that beautiful? Rather than you never talk to your kids because this is the way I said it, and by God, that's the way it is. But you set the boundaries ahead of time. Children, kids, I'm telling you, when I make a decision, the decision's made and it's final. I'm the dad, you're the child, this is our relationship. You're not my coworker, you're not my employee, right? You're not my best friend, you're my son, you're my daughter. That all makes sense for everybody. Same way you would do it at work. When you make a call on a construction site in the middle of a job or whatever you're doing, that's the call that's final. It's not up for debate. But set a safe place for later, because that's a constructive flow of information. And anger can come up. This is the same way in your marriages. Arguing is healthy because it's anger flowing through. And if you did it constructively, it's going to make things all for the better, even if you disagree to disagree. We'll put in here. If you guys have any comments we want to discuss, we can put them up in there in the chat right now. This is why this approach makes people stop trying to manipulate you. When you bottle up anger and explode, you're actually, this is crazy. When you bottle up your anger and you explode uncontrollably, you're teaching people how to control you. Every time you lose control, you're showing them exactly which buttons to push to get a reaction. You don't want that, right? But when you learn to handle your anger in a controlled way, people can't push your buttons anymore because you're not giving them power over you. I mean, look how Jesus handled anger. We see it all the time. When they came up trying Jesus, like in Matthew chapter 22, with a question, they were trying to push Jesus's buttons. When they came up asking Jesus a question, they were trying to push his buttons. But what did Jesus do? Jesus stayed in control and he dealt with the situation. And then you would see Jesus leave. He'd just leave. He would deal with the situation and he would just leave. But let me show you a specific one because this has probably come up a lot of times. Jesus in the temple. Jesus in Matthew 21, verse 12 through 14. And Jesus entered the temple and drove all who sold and bought in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. And he said to them, "It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of robbers." And the blind and the lame came to the temple and he healed them. Jesus was angry, but notice Jesus did not sin. He didn't call them names. He didn't attack their character. Jesus wasn't foaming at the mouth and putting people up in the hospital either, because this has been used so often to say, man, you can just, it's okay to go and beat people up. And oh yeah, it's been used that way. Jesus addressed the behavior and the injustice. His anger was controlled and it was purposeful. We see by Jesus's next actions. Jesus, letting anger flow through him in a constructive way, created an area that the blind and lame could come and be healed. Is that creation or destruction? It's creation. This is also the next thing for those that like to use this in a scenario that you can just go off on people. No, because in Matthew 21, 15, 17, it says that the children came in crying out, Hosanna to the Son of David. Children wouldn't be doing that if Jesus Christ was in there acting like an absolute maniac in uncontrolled anger, whipping people with a bullwhip, throwing tables everywhere, foaming at the mouth and screaming like a maniac. Do you think children would want to come in and sing songs to him? No. Jesus' controlled anger created a place for constructive healing and a place and an environment for children to come in singing. That's what we're aiming for, guys. Anger that serves righteousness, not that serves our flesh. And that doesn't mean that you are a doormat for everybody either. That's not what we're saying. But love always does, when you have controlled anger and anger and love, it always lets anger flow through you in a way that builds up rather than tears down. When you learn to love your anger instead of fearing your anger, when you learn that anger is a tool rather than something destructive to you or harmful to you, when you use that, you can use anger and love instead of fearing it. You can use it to serve others instead of serving yourself. Uncontrolled anger serves you. Controlled anger serves others. Let's finish up on these slides real quick. Number one, when you can't get away, these are going to be some that we're going to round up the wagons, man. When you feel anger rising, don't stuff it down. Don't stuff it down. Remove yourself. Go to a private place. Let it out physically. Yell, scream, punch a bag, scream in a pillow. Channel your energy. Work out, work on a project. Take action. Use the anger to fuel yourself creatively. Process what it is telling you. What needs to be addressed? Anger is information. Approach constructively when you are ready. That means come back to that person or that situation that made you angry, and now you can use it constructively. That's for when you can't get away, or when you can get away. When you can get away, this is what you do. This is what you do. Take a photo of it. When you can't get away, use non-directed anger. I'm angry at this situation. I'm angry at this behavior, but I'm not angry at the character of a person. Take time out if possible. Even if you can't get away in the same room, can you just give me 30 seconds? Can you just give me 1 minute and just regulate your breathing? A lot of times I help just a deep breath in and a slow, controlled breath out. There's people in the military that use this breathing technique when bullets were flying over their head and people were getting ready to enter rooms with armed soldiers and bombs going off. So I know that you can do this in the middle of when your kids are screaming at you and you go, how you expect me to take a time out and do a breathing process when my kids are screaming or my wife's yelling at me or my husband's yelling at me? Yeah, it's possible. If the soldiers can do it and this worked for them, this is a technique that worked for them. This is a technique that can work for you. And they say they would just step back from the situation, mentally take a step back, breathe. And then address the situation. Address the issue, not the person. Focus on the behavior or the circumstances and follow up privately when later, when emotions are lowered. What about with the kiddos? Well, never direct anger at them personally. You're to be training them. You don't want to teach them that they're broken, that something's wrong with them. Well, no, you're trying to train and mold them how to function, that it's going to best serve them and the society in which you live. Express frustration with the situation, not them. You can even just say the words, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. They might look at you and just start laughing. Look, dad's angry again. One more time, could you imagine your child when you get angry and blow up and you go, I'm angry, and they look at you, dad, in the middle of the room and they start laughing in a fun way? Oh, look, dad, boy, that's some anger. Look at him expressing that anger. But when you direct the anger at your children, that's how come everybody's like either getting mad and resenting you when they get into their teenage years, or when they're young, they're terrified of you. And you make the whole room drop because your anger has always been directed at them and not where it should be. Reassure them that they're safe. They're loved. This is a safe place. Model controlled emotion for them. When you lose your anger in front of your team, whether it's your family or at work or wherever, in front of your team, you lose leadership points. You lose respect because you're not the rock and the anchor that they need you to be. You get shaken. And if you're a person that gets shaken easily, you need to do some soul searching, like David did on his bed when he would pray and meditate to the Most High. Go to the root. Are you guys ready to take off like a rocket, man? Because this isn't just about anger management. This is about becoming the kind of person that can handle intense emotions without losing control. Because the Holy Spirit that God gave us is not one of fear. And when you let anger control you, you're serving yourself because you're in fear that you're losing something, that you're not in control. Yeah, you're human. Welcome to the club. But when you have the Holy Spirit, you have power, you have control, you have love, you have self-control. Your anger isn't your enemy when it's surrendered to God. It's used for his purpose. It's information. It's energy. It's a tool for righteousness when you know how to use it. So this time, guys, I want you to practice this week. Not when you feel your heart rate go up in the middle of a conversation, when you feel your muscles tense and you're like, I'm getting angry right now. I'm feeling attacked. I got to do something. I got to protect because I'm scared. Like, dude, it's just information. A boundary is being crossed, an injustice maybe has happened. Or maybe it's just something else I'm not working with and it's not them. And you just go, you know what? I need a moment to process. Can you give me 10 minutes? And then come back and you could talk about the behavior. I don't appreciate when you say these things to me because it makes me feel like I'm being attacked. It makes me feel like I'm not accepted or being loved by you right now. And I want a harmonious, loving relationship. Do you guys think you can do that this week? Practice some of these techniques. Which one of these techniques for you do you think would be like a game changer for you? Anybody on the other side of that camera or the room? Do not do as I say, not as I do. I hated hearing that as a child. Right. Isn't that wild? Because we should model the behavior, right? And more people pay attention to what they see than what they hear. Anyway, we're visual learners, most of us. My younger autistic son would mimic our emotions, which is a real eye-opener. Yeah. If you ever see children playing in quiet and they're playing with dolls or toys and they're like, shut up, you listen to me right now. And do you know where that's coming from? I've heard that before, different things. And they have stuff on YouTube where you can see case studies of that, where the children, like in play, are expressing, or how the children treat one another. They learned it from you, mom and dad. That's why they treat each other that way. And what the children are doing when they're playing and they're yelling with their dolls and breaking things, killing things, a lot of times they're letting that anger flow through them because they don't know how to process it. You never taught them. Yes, they gave a plan which leads to a possible solution. I love that processing. Pause, not disappear. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't disappear when you give them a time frame too. Because you say, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I just need to go process this. Give mom 5 minutes. Well, now they're like, okay, mom will be right back. And then come back. Set a timer and don't forget to come back. Head out to the garden. Yeah. And that's, and guys too, guys and gals, a lot of times you wouldn't even be aware of the fact that like when you go hit the gym and you just feel better, like your day feels better on a day that you hit the gym or you go for a run, or you go work in your garden or you draw and you're like, I feel better. You're processing those emotions and you didn't even realize it. Imagine how much better it's going to be when you go and do those same activities, but now you're mentally aware and you're present with your emotions. And you're like, I'm going to take this time to actually just flow all that through me and let it right out here in the gym. Let it right out here in the garden. Cool. All right. Well, guys, I pray you have a blessed week. And next week, we're going to get into some more. I just hope these type of teachings are really helping level you up. Father God, I thank you for every emotion you've given us, including anger. Help us to be angry without sinning. Teach us to let our anger serve righteousness instead of our flesh. Give us wisdom to know when to speak and when to process privately, when to act and when to wait. Help us love people enough, Father God, to be empathetic with them and appreciate them or who they are and take time to listen more than we speak. Know that our actions speak louder than words, and let us be that light you've called us to be. And through the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. All right, guys. Have a blessed week. The King, he is coming.